If your webinar is running 24/7, it's going to make you money consistently. Sleeping? Made a sale. On vacation? Made a sale. So I'm going to teach you how to turn your existing webinar into an evergreen webinar that is going to run 24/7, so you can consistently bring in new leads and new clients. We're going to cover 6 points, and number 7 is a little bit of a bonus. Things to take note of. Number 1, registration page. So it's important because this page used to have your webinar that is date-based. Take out everything that refers to a specific date, a specific time. And then the form on this registration page, you want to create a new form. The reason why I say this is because you want to avoid confusion. Reset the things, so the tags, the list. Also, by having a brand new form, you will not accidentally trigger the old email sequence. So for example, there is one time because we reused the same form for an old webinar and then we used the same thing for the new webinar, what we did not realize is that we did not turn off the old webinar. When you have a million things in your head without a checklist, sometimes things like that can slip through the crack. In short, create a new form, avoid confusion, and this new form will all be for your evergreen webinar. Part 2. Give access. So there's really 2 ways to do this, is that you can do it instant access. So the moment they sign up for the registration page, in the thank you page, they will get the video on there. Or my favorite option is to actually give it to them in their email. You really can do one or the other. It's really up to you. But here's what I see about both methods. So when you give the video, the evergreen webinar, immediately after they've opted in on the thank you page, they won't watch it automatically. Happens most of the time, nobody opts in and then just like, okay, I'm gonna watch it now. They usually prefer a link to keep. So then what I like to do instead, because most people will probably not watch it immediately, is to save that space on the thank you page to promote other things. Also, by not putting the video in the thank you page, but put it in the email that they're gonna get after they've opted in, you get to make sure that they 100% gave you the correct email. Let's just say they go to the thank you page and then they're like, oh, there's no video here. It looks like I gotta give my real email. That's another way to make sure that you get quality emails. The biggest main reason is because we want them to open your email. We want to train them to open your email in their inbox, and then we want their inbox to see your email as something that they would usually open. This will help you increase your open rates in the future, and then this will also allow your email to hit inbox more often. Now that your thank you page is basically open up, you can promote other things there. For example, you can tell them to go to your socials, join your email, and if they really want to watch it immediately, they will go to the email and grab the link. Number 3, follow-up email sequence is key. Sure, you can run a webinar to showcase your expertise, but in the end, it is to sell a service, a course. So by having a good email sequence behind the webinar, after they've opted in for the webinar, they'll get the welcome email, and then the welcome email has the link to the webinar. After that, you have 7 days after that to promote something. And this thing that you're going to promote is not just anything, it's actually the thing that you're selling in your webinar. So basically, this email sequence is key to help them understand how this thing is going to change their lives. And then also, this email sequence is key to make sure that they watch this webinar. And ideally, this offer that they can get through the webinar is not forever. You would want it to expire maybe like say 7 days after the webinar. So not only this does not give them infinite time to think about the thing that you're selling, but it also encourages them to watch the webinar. By putting a time limit on this special offer that you're giving them via the webinar, it makes them really think about if they actually want it or not. Number 4, offer them something valuable that they can get once they stay all the way until the end. This is usually done for the live version so that, you can have many people stay on the live call as possible towards the end so that you can, they stay until you present your offer. But in an evergreen version, you can actually force this too. There's something in like funnel builders, there's thing called like a force watch thing. So you take away the play bar, you can't fast forward it or anything like that. It forces them to watch the whole thing. And if in the registration page, in the welcome email and any follow-up emails to get them to watch the webinar, if you tell them and emphasize that they will get something very special, very valuable, basically something that helps them solve a very specific problem, that will encourage them to watch the webinar and they will have no choice but to listen through your pitch. And if your pitch is really good, they're gonna get sold. When I say something achievable, I mean something small. So for example, if you were to sell like a decluttering course, instead of saying, hey, I'm gonna give you a checklist of, how to declutter your whole house. That's really not feasible, but if you give them like a decluttering checklist or decluttering tutorial, maybe just the closet, just the bathroom, something very specific and very achievable, 1 to 2 hours, something that they actually can see themselves achieving, this will add to the value immensely. Offer them something valuable so that they can stay all the way to the end, and then make your video a forced watch thing. So like take away the thing that allows them to go forward and backward, to watch it all the way until the end, and therefore listen to your pitch. Number 5, give them a webinar access that actually expires. Don't give them forever to watch. Give them maybe like 3 days, 7 days to watch your webinar, because it's important that they know that this thing is going away. If you emphasize it, they will watch the webinar. And remember, your webinar is supposed to be the sale engine, because you're teaching them, you're showing your expertise. And most importantly, you're presenting your offer in relation to the thing that you just taught them. The webinar is supposed to prime them to buy. So if they don't watch the webinar, chances are they're not really gonna buy. Number 6, run traffic to your webinar. There's no point having it as an evergreen 24/7 thing if there's nobody even going to the thing. You can do it organically, like do your social media posts and all that, things like that. So that's like usually the slow way to get there. Then there is the semi-fast way, which is getting in front of people's audiences. So you can either do a collaboration, get people to promote your webinar while you promote their stuff, or you can also run ads to it, which is the fastest way. The goal is to have people coming into this evergreen webinar so that it can actually do its job and get you sales. So these are the 6 things that you need to do to turn your webinar from a one-time off thing to an evergreen. But a few things to take note. Number 1, do not jump straight into an evergreen webinar. If you've never done this webinar before, do not turn into an evergreen. Do it one-off first. In fact, do it one-off a few times. The reason why you need to do this is because you need to make sure that your pitch, your presentation, your emails are good. Basically, optimize every part of it before you turn it into an evergreen one. Make sure you've actually sold some via your webinar before turning it into an evergreen one. And by having so many versions that you've done as a one-off, then you get to see your improvement over the time, and also you get to choose the version that people stayed all the way till the end for. But if you've done it a few times and each time not many people have registered, but people have been visiting your registration page, that means either your registration page does not clearly convey the value that you are going to offer, or people are just not interested in a topic and potentially you might need to switch topic a little bit. So once these are all optimized, the registration page has people registering easily. The webinar has people staying through and watching all the way till the end. The email sequence has people actually buying your program. And even better, when people actually buy your program off of the webinar immediately, you know, when you give the link on the webinar and then people are like, oh, they buy immediately. When you have all these things optimized, then at this point, it's honestly just a numbers game when you turn it into an evergreen. How many views will actually convert into registration, and then how many registration will actually convert into sales. So if those numbers become consistent, then you know how much traffic to bring in and how much sales that will become. And now you know what you need to do to turn your webinar into an evergreen webinar that runs like a sales machine for you 24/7. If you'd like to learn more about funnels, automation, and design, join my email list in the link in the description below. I email occasionally, and it's a great way to get my direct reply on questions that you have. And I'll see you in the next video.